personally never something I thought I would do. Buying this car for as cheap as I did and building it up, and it being one of the most fantastic cars I have ever driven. Everything that I have learnt personally with cars, I dedicate to this thing. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough day. Plates are off, and I completely forgot how bad standard issue plates fit, hey? Like, the front is actually the worst of it. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's a little bit weird, but the back actually fit better than my Jap plates. So, it worked out really well. But either way, I wanted to have a chat to you guys, because this was a very out of the blue decision. Not exactly one that I wanted to make, but one that I felt like it was a good decision. I don't know. A lot of you will ask, do I have a plan? No, I wouldn't have a clue what I'm doing. The car has always been something that's been very, very close to me. And as I said before, learning how to do basically everything. It was my first ever engine out. It was my first ever trans out. First ever time pulling a diff, first time ever doing coilovers by myself, fitting intercoolers, fitting radiators, first time ever bleeding a car by myself. This car is a creation of every single thing that I've learnt about cars. And even though it was originally supposed to be that cheap piece of junk that just sat out the front and I went and smashed it into a wall, when it was a $3,500 car, I was so keen for that. But then they started growing up and up and up in value to a point where even 2 years ago, I was like, man, this is a big investment for me to be throwing around a track. I still had a lot of fun at grip events, and I learned very quickly that I'm a lot more suited to grip driving. I find it a lot more enjoyable, and yeah. But no matter what I threw at this car, it was incredible. Grip driving, it absolutely blew me out of the water on the horrible tires that it had. I think they were Rapids or something like that. They're probably still on the car. But on Rapids, like, I have no idea how it made so much grip. And the coils that are in it and just everything in this car is just so beautifully set up. It is one of the most perfectly set up 33s that I've ever driven. I've jumped into some nice 33s, and I've jumped into some really bad 33s. This car right here, with absolutely no bushings that have gone, a nice, brilliantly smooth powertrain, a brilliantly smooth power curve, so linear, with the option of just going basically straight to E85 and pushing it over 400. This car is just so incredible. It's been one of my favorite things that I've ever done in my entire life, is build this thing. And yes, it is a little bit junk around the edges, but at the end of the day, it is honestly, in comparison to how cheap these cars got and how many of them were thrashed, this car is certainly probably one of the cleanest ones that I've ever seen out there, and it's going to be extremely sad to let it go today. So as you guys might ask, yes, as I said, I have no plans whatsoever. Put it up for sale for a price that I would let it go at, and sure enough, someone messaged me that night and offered me some money. Came around and looked at it the very next day. The first person to look at it gave me an offer, and I could not refuse. It's one of those things where, like, you bought the car for so little and you have so little into it, but it's a car that nowadays is just growing straight up in price, and just, I never expected it to get to that value, ever. I knew that they were going to become legal in the States. I knew that they would get rarer and rarer as time goes on, but I never expected in 2 years that this car would grow $25,000. And it's like, it's one of those things where, like, I have to weigh up, do I really like this car for the price that I could get for it? In terms of the RX-7, that's one of those cars that it would have a thing up here to sell it. But the 33 has always been that car that I never considered a beautiful car. As I said, it is a little rough around the edges, but at the end of the day, it is a beautiful, clean example of what is a 33, and I'm excited to let it go. I have no plans from here on out. I have no want to get another car at the moment. I'm just happy building the RX-7 and enjoying myself and taking a little bit of this break off YouTube that I've had at the moment. But yeah, I thought because I've dragged you guys along for the journey for 2 years with this car now, you all deserve this video. Yeah, goodbye to the 33, I guess. So I just finished cleaning up the car and getting all the stuff out of the interior, and man, she looks clean. Looks so clean right now. It's been covered up for the last 2 weeks. Honestly, as soon as he said yes, I haven't driven the car, and it's a little bit sad in that aspect. But yeah, it's been under covers for the last 3 weeks. It literally has been completely taken over by my electric skateboard, which is funny enough. But yeah, got a brand new wheel for old mate as well, because when he came around I said that I wanted to keep the LZ wheel, so I grabbed this SAS wheel, and arguably, honestly, probably looks and feels nicer than the LZ wheel, so it's going to be funny to put that in as well. So nice and easy with a railgun. That's a little bit too big. Just right. Ooh yeah, she's full super cheap spec now. Hell yeah. No, actually, if this had a little bit nicer of a concave, I'd actually be so down to drive with this wheel, but yeah, nah, it's pretty interesting, not gonna lie. So I got a few new things to go onto my Shrine, the brekkie roll plates, as well as the Grip Royale LZ steering wheel that has done me well for a good 2 years, so. Okay guys, the new owner is on his way to here at the moment. I'm fairly sure this car's going to be living Southside Brisbane somewhere. I'm not quite sure, but I'm really stoked. But I wanted to have a chat to you guys just before he gets here anyway, and just let you guys know, I don't know why I'm doing this. I have no plans for the future. This car was always something that I just wanted to get really cheap, build really cheap, and rip around a track. And to be honest, I still did build it fairly cheap, but I didn't cheap out on any parts, if you get me. I just got what was necessary for me at the time. You know, this car has so many of my firsts. My first ever engine pull, first ever manual car, first ever car I learned to drive manual in basically, first ever trans out, first ever diff out by myself, first ever turbo swap by myself, first ever coilover swap by myself, and just so many things in this car. First time I've ever got out and actually done a group event on a track. Now, you guys all know that I wanted to get into drifting basically when I went to Japan, and came back over here and could just never ever get the hang of it with some of Australia's tracks in my own cars. But grip driving was something that I really started to enjoy, and this thing here, I have no idea how it did so well at grip driving, especially with the rapid tires and stuff like that we had on it. This thing is always just a beast. And yeah, it's going to be really sad, honestly, to see it go. Honestly, feel a little bit more upset about this than the Falcon. From the day dot, I never missed the Falcon. But this car here is going to be something a little bit different. It's been a good car. It's been a really good car. I've ripped it around the track at Matsuri, basically rally driven it at Matsuri. I've grip drove it around Lakeside Raceway. I have done many car shows, I daily drove this car for 2 years, and yeah, I'm gonna get the Civic back very soon, which I'm pretty stoked for, so I can daily drive that. But basically the skateboard's taken over this car's job because I wasn't grip driving it or anything, and now that the RX-7 is finally back on the road, it's gonna start going to some grip events and actually do what it was built to do. But yeah, the Skyline, yeah, God, I'm gonna miss it. Sucks. I don't even know why I put it up for sale, to be honest. Good morning guys, welcome back to another video. This is gonna be a super awkward intro because I'm just like chilling on the side of the road out the front of a whole bunch of houses. But today we're gonna be finally putting a car in the garage right beside Belle, my beautiful Breeze XR6 Turbo. So this morning we've driven all the way, you guys are just gonna get the car. We've driven all the way to Childers, and if you guys remember in the last video, we came and checked out a awesome white R33 Skyline GTST manual. So today we are picking that car up. Today we've driven all the way to Childers to come pick up this car right here. Oh yeah, I thought you were gonna pose. Beautifully clean R33 GTST. Now this thing just looks so cool, and it's something so different from what I've had. no, that was a little bit sideways there.